Hi all, in this video we'll see test automation framework part 2. In our previous part we just discussed that what is framework, what are the different types of frameworks, advantages, disadvantages that. So from this video we'll start building a framework. Before that we need to know what is Maven, why to use Maven, creating sample Maven project and basic framework setup. Right. So first we'll see what is Maven, what is the advantage when you use Maven. Maven, accumulator of knowledge. The meaning of that is accumulator of knowledge. So Maven was originally started as an attempt to simplify the build processes. There are several projects each with their own and build files that were all slightly different and jars are checked into CVS. Means then we wanted a standard way to build the projects, a clear definition of what the project consisted of, an easy way to publish project information, and a way to share jars across several projects. Frankly speaking, this is not needed for us as a tester, but the Maven originally used for to build a process of application development and how you build all these things, how you release. So to make that process easy, they started using Maven. So Maven simplifies all this process. So, and once you done with your building, how you share your jars. The Selenium comes in the form of jars, right? How you share jars across several projects. To make that easy, people invented Maven and started using Maven. So then where you use this Maven in your testing process. So that we'll see, but this is simple information that will be mostly used by developers to simplify their work. Okay. Maven objectives: making the build process easy, providing a uniform build system, providing quality project information, providing guidelines for best practices development, allowing transparent migration to new features. So just we discussed that, right? It purely talk about the development process, making the build process easy, providing a uniform build system, providing quality project information, providing guidelines for best practices development, allowing transparent migration to new features. These are all things can be very easy when you go with Maven. Right? They define some standards. So they are using this standards. So that is possible using Maven. Okay. So Maven repository site. First we'll see Maven, what is repository, means what is Maven, and then Maven repository. For that we'll go to Chrome. So first we'll see Maven. So this is developed by Apache, maven.apache.org. Here you will find so much of information about this process. Welcome to Apache Maven. Apache Maven is a software project management and comprehensive tool based on the concept of a project object model, POM. You use POM in two times in the framework. One POM is called project object model, another POM is called page object model. This project object model is different from that page object model. Project object model comes in the Maven and page object model comes in the framework development. Okay, so people keep confusing that what is this POM and what is that POM, and we use both POM in the same framework. Right, when you're using Maven in your framework, obviously you need to deal with POM, this POM, that is called project object model, and you are building a framework using one of the design patterns called page object model. That is also people called POM. This is also POM, POM. So people confuses. So please remember that when you talk about a Maven, the POM means project object model. What is that? Project object model. When you talk about design pattern or framework, that is POM called page object model. This is the difference. Here project, there page. Right. Maven can manage a project's build, reporting and documentation from a central piece of information. So this is simple information about Maven. You have so much of documentation, use, extend, contribute, how to get support. Here you have the features, how to download. You see so many features are there. You can download from here. Right. And you have so many plugins in the Maven. Right, we'll see all those things. We'll use surefire reports. Generate a report based on the results in your unit tests. We'll use this. We'll use some plugins. Create a Maven plugin descriptor for any major found in the source tree to include in the jar. So anything else we can discuss here? And then plugin testing. Okay, we don't know that, but the basic idea behind Maven is your development process makes easy by using Maven, but we can use the same Maven for some extent in our test framework also. Okay, that is the reason we'll use Maven. But in which purpose you use Maven, that we'll see. Okay, so once you follow this process, everything you build from your you're done with your development, and then you want to share your jars, right? Then where you will get that? For that we have a separate site called Maven repository. So mvnrepository.com. So here what you will find? You will find all the jar files here. It is a centralized repository. From here you will get all the jar files which you need in your automation framework. Right? We need Selenium, we need TestNG, we need Apache Py, we need extend reports. All are available in the Maven repository. It's a centralized repository. Right? So what is the advantage when you go with this? So for each and every, as part of your automation framework, then you need so many jar files. Where you visit for each and every jar, no need to search in Google or visit so many web pages. So you'll avoid all those things. You just come to this centralized repository, you will get each and everything. So that is the reason when you build something, the people will host in the Maven repository. Okay. So jars directly not comes into this. You have to place here. But why people will place here? It is very popular. People simply comes here, visit this website, then simply get that information. So if you want to become popular, you want to put your information in the Maven repository. If something is available in the Maven repository, it is easy for the people to use your jars. Right? That is the reason you will find each and everything. So if you search Selenium, you see, right? Selenium Java, Selenium API, Selenium Server, Selenium Support, Selenium Firefox, Selenium Remote, Selenium Chrome. For different type of projects, you will get the jar files. When you click here, you see that the latest version is 3.141.59. When you click here, you see that jar file. But previously, from where you got this information? From the seleniumhq.org. Right. When you go to the download section, you see 3.141.59. The same thing is available here, 3.141.59. Right. Previously we visited this web page. Now it is available here. And when you go with extend reports.com/community, right, you downloaded extend report jar files from here, download version 4 from here. But when you go to Maven repository, if you say extend reports, you see that extend reports, the latest is 4.0.9, 4.0.9, right. You can download from here and you can download from the official website. But if you want to download Selenium and extend, you need to visit two places. For Selenium, you need to go to seleniumhq.org. For extend reports, you need to go to extendreports.com/community. But if you visit mvnrepository.com, you will get both, right? And then Apache Poi. You need to visit this page. You need to go to download. Here you need to download this zip file, unzip these things, and you add it to your Eclipse, right, your project. But if you come here, you see that Apache Poi, right? So 4.0.1, you see that 4.0.1. So if you want to get the jar file, you just visit a single page that is called mvnrepository.com. But if you are not using this, you need to visit one website for one jar file, another website for another jar files, and some other website for some other jar files, right? So Apache Py put their jar files here, Selenium has placed their jar files here, and Extend Reports placed their jar files here. So this is called centralized repository, right? Centralized repository, you will get everything, but the people has to place here. But why people are placing here? In a single place, you will get access to each and every jar file. That is the reason people normally visit this. See, somebody says XYZ will helpful for some ABC task. Then where I'll go for the jar file? I'll simply come here, I'll search. If I get here, I'll simply use those jar files and I'll use to build or to use in our framework. That simple it is. Otherwise, you need to search and you need to go there. You may not trust that website. MVN repository is a trustable website. You can blindly come here, you can download the jar files from here and then use. They'll take care of that security, all these things. But when you visit other websites, we don't know. We may get some virus, some attacks may happen. Right. So mvnrepository.com is a safest place to download your jar files, to get your jar files. That is the reason Maven is very popular. Alright. So this way you can helpful in testing perspective. Now we'll go to Eclipse, and we have seen how to generate extend reports and how to write programs to interact with, means use Selenium to interact with your application. So we have named it as Selenium demo. Now we'll create one more project, that is Maven project. This is Java project. Okay, right click, new. If you go to the project, you see that in the general Gradle Java Maven. In Java, if you expand Java project, this Selenium demo is Java project. Then if you want to create Maven project, come to the Maven project, right? Click next. So Maven project, select Maven project and click next. Previously we have taken Java project. Now use create a simple project. Okay, click on this, click next. Now it will ask for group ID, artifact ID and version, right? What is mean by group ID, artifact ID and version? So when you come here, group ID uniquely identifies your project across all projects. A group ID should follow Java's package name rules. This means it starts with a reverse domain name you control. For example, if you take xyz.com company, com.xyz, something like that, you have to start your group ID. The reverse way of here maven.apache.org. So it become org.apache.maven. Okay, so group ID uniquely identifies your project across all your projects. Means Maven is a centralized repository. If you want to host there, it should have some unique name, right? That is group ID. So you have to follow some naming conventions to create group ID, and it will identify your project uniquely in the Maven repository. That is called group ID. While you creating your Maven project, you have to consider this group ID. Then only you can share in your across the Maven, right? You can share through Maven. Then what is artifact ID? Is the name of the jar without version. If you created it, then you can choose whatever name you want with lowercase letters and no strange symbols. If it's a third-party jar, you have to take the name of the jar as it's distributed. So Maven, org.apache.common, something like that. You can take whatever name you want. That comes with your jar file name. If you say Selenium standalone server, right? That is your artifact ID, right? It is a name to your jar file. And then versioning. If you distributed it, then you can choose any typical version with numbers and dots. You know already it's a simple versioning. 1.0, 1.11, 1.0.1, something like that. Don't use dates as they are usually associated with snapshot nightly builds. So do not use dates. If it's a third party artifact, you have to use their version number, whatever it is, and as strange as it can look. For example, 2.0, 2.0.1, 1.5.1, 1.51, something like that, right? It's a change between your previous version and this version, means previous changes to this changes. If you made some changes to your project, you can give some name to that. That's called version number. Okay, these are the three information we need to know while you're creating the Maven project. So group ID, right? Group ID is uniquely identifies. What I can put, I'll say in dot automation testing, something like that. Artifact ID. So it can, you say that your project name or your jar name. What I'll do, I'll name it as hybrid framework with page object model. Okay, and version, let it be, we are not going to build the application, right? We are just building a framework. Then finish. You see that you created a framework, Maven project, and when you open this, you will find some information here. SRC main Java, SRC main resources, SRC test Java, SRC test resources. Means while you building application, you have to follow some rules, right? So for that, the Maven is giving some folder structure. You have to follow the same folder structure to build your application. Okay. Apart from that, here you need to discuss one thing very special, is that pom.xml. This is the heart of your Maven project. Without this pom.xml, there is no meaning of creating Maven project. Okay. When you open this pom.xml, pom means here project object model, right? This pom we are talking about hybrid framework with pom, page object model, that is a design pattern. So when you open pom.xml, project object model.xml, so this is a simple information you will get first. Project model version group ID, you see that the group ID comes here in dot automation testing, and then you will get artifact ID, hybrid framework with pom. You see that this artifact ID is became your project name. The same name is here, right? The project name means your Maven project name, and your artifact ID is same. So version, we did not put any version, that is the reason it took default version. So here you have project tag. Inside the project tag, you need to put your plugins, your dependencies, whatever you want to put within the project tag. So in our previous project, Java project, how you added Selenium jar files, reference libraries, right? So you downloaded and you placed somewhere in the folder structure, means in your system, and you right click on your project, go to the properties or go to the build path, go to configure build path. Here you added using add external jars, right? You did this way, then those are appeared here, right? That is a tedious job that you need to download the jar files, you need to place somewhere, you need to configure from there. Tomorrow if you change that folder structure, you will lose the reference to that, you may get errors, right? To avoid all those things, to make those process simple, we can use pom.xml file. Those are all dependency jar files, right? You are depending on the Selenium jar files, you are depending on the testng jar files, you are depending on the extend report jar files, you are depending on the Apache Py jar files. Those are called dependencies. So same way, you have one of the tags called dependencies. Okay, how you know that? For that, go to your Maven repository, go here. First we need Selenium, right? Search Selenium, go to Selenium server, we need Selenium server 3.141.59. if you need another version, you can simply go there, right? So 3.141.59. here what will you do? Here see Maven, Gradle, you have some other options, but we are interested in Maven. So no need to download jar files, okay? No need to download any jar file. You just copy this code. You see that dependency, group ID, artifact ID, version, dependency. Okay, just click on this code. No need to even copy. When you click, you see copy to clipboard. The mouse action will do what? It will copy. It copied. Now you come to your pom.xml, and I said it's a dependency. If you have multiple dependencies, you need to mention that in the dependencies tag. So you see, when you start typing, you got dependencies. Okay, take dependencies. In between in the dependencies, you can put each and every dependency. Just copy it, right? I'll say Control V or Command V, right? 3.141.5. and you observe here in the Maven project you have JRE system library. You see the same thing we have seen for normal project also, Java project also, referential libraries. See JRE system library by default. Okay, So here it is taking 1.5. We need to change that to 1.8. For that, go to properties, add library, JRE system library. Next, I think finish. You see 1.8, you just remove that. By default it is giving me 1.5, change it to 1.8. Okay, come here the same way, come to the libraries, add library, JRE system library. Next, already it is selected 1.8, just finish. Okay, apply and close. Now you see Java 1.8. Okay, now you do not have any other option here, right? You are seeing only JRE system library, that related jar files. Now I am not adding the Selenium jar files, but what I'll do, okay, you have added dependency. Here you see that group ID. What is that? seleniumhq.org, right? org.seleniumhq.selenium, they have given the name. Artifact ID, Selenium server. The version 3.141.59. By using this information, you are uniquely identifying this information in the MVN repository site. Okay, they are also come up with the same pattern. You see that what we did, group ID, artifact ID, version. The same way they build the project and they are hosting in the MVN repository. Okay, now Control Shift F or Command Shift F. So it organized your, what you say, XML file. Now just observe here in your project, only you have JRE system library. When I save, Control S or Command S, right? When you save this XML file, you just observe here, bottom right here where my mouse is, I am moving. Here you just observe bottom right. I'll say save. I save. You see building workspace 83%, something like that. It is coming, right? It's done. Now you see that Maven dependencies, another option. Till now we have JRE system library. Now we have Maven dependencies. When you expand this, you will find Selenium jar files automatically downloaded into your machine, right? Automatically downloaded into your machine. Where it is? Users, my name, dot, it created .m2 folder, .m2 folder, inside that repository, inside org, Selenium HQ, Selenium server 3.141.5. It will organize its own way. Okay, do not bother about that, but you got each and every jar file which you need to work with Selenium, right? Just I copied this one in the pom.xml file, I just saved it, that's it. What happened? Now it downloaded each and every jar file related to Selenium server. Now I need extend reports. So inside the dependencies, you need to add one more dependency. Just search extend reports. Go to this, go to 4.0.1, just click here, copy it, go to your pom.xml, Control V, just Control S. You see that building workspace again, means it is downloading the jar files. Alright, now you can see extend reports 4.0.9 jar and that related jar files. That simple it is. You can easily maintain what jar files you needed for your framework. Right. Now, what is the another advantage? So, when you go back here, previously I am using 4.0.8. Okay, 4.0.8. If you change this version and Control S, you see that extend reports 4.0.8 it became. Became means now it downloaded 4.0.8 and it references it to that. So it is the older version. After some time, there is a new version called 4.0.3. You want to upgrade to 4.0.3. What you can do in the normal way, you need to download latest jar files and you need to add to your project. But here, simply change this version to 4.0.9 and save. You see that it became 4.0.9. So versioning also very easy. Right, you simply upgrade to latest version of your jar files by using pom.xml file. That is the biggest advantage when you talk about pom.xml. Apart from that, we have so many. So we can run using your scripts using pom.xml file, and you can run testng.xml file from the pom.xml file. Okay, so that we'll see. We'll go step by step in the framework and we'll see all these options. But here, why to go for Maven project? What are the advantages? How you take the dependencies, how you put into your pom.xml file, how it will download jar files, how it will, you see that no need to go to properties, go to build project, build path. You see directly Maven dependencies here. You have all the jar files. Right. Previously, we need to go to add external jars, we need to add those jar files, we need to download all these things, right? That headache is not there now. We can simply copy paste the dependency according to that version, it will download that version and will directly reference in your project. That is the biggest advantages when you go with Maven project. Okay, but this is all about what you say. What is Maven? Why to use Maven? We created a simple Maven project, and the basic framework setup means we just downloaded the jar files and we added into downloaded in the means we put the dependencies in the pom.xml file. So we have done the basic framework setup. Okay, and we have seen what is Maven, what is the Maven repository, what is group ID, what is artifact ID, what is version, all these things, right? Okay, that's all in this video. Thank you.